Yes, I came through a curtain because I'm that bitch. 100%. Um, I just have to kind of start this off with a big woosah. Anybody familiar with woosah? I don't know where it came from, but it's something that Black people like to say when we would just want to kind of let things roll off and relax for a minute, and maybe other people say it too. I don't know. But can we all just do it together for a second? One, two, three. Woosah. Whew. So when I was 22, you couldn't tell me anything. I was in the best shape of my life so far. Actually, so far. I was just looking amazing. I was fresh out of college and I was just on the prowl. I was ready to have a good time. And my really good friend, who I'm still friends with till today, her name is Meaghan, and she was white Meaghan and I was black Meaghan. That was our thing. We weren't offended by it. It was simply what it was. White Meaghan invited me to a bonfire on Ocean Beach. So I went to a bonfire at Ocean Beach, and this was our big, we're out of school, we're having fun, we're doing our thing. This was our big thing. So I went to my bonfire on Ocean Beach, and as I stood there, everybody was in a giant circle. We were passing a pipe around. We were all smoking a lot of weed. So we were really, really stoned, and then we started passing some chocolate around. And when I looked across the fire, and I saw everything, I saw smoke, the oasis, everything. I looked across and I saw these beautiful bluish, greenish eyes. And we locked eyes. And I never, ever knew, I'm a Libra, so I love to love. But I never, ever in this type of way I've experienced love at first sight. I mean, I saw this guy, he looked at me, and we looked at each other, and it was just like perfect. In my 22-year-old voice. So we locked eyes, and I walked around with my chocolate bar, and I said, "Would you like some chocolate?" And he was like, "Yeah." So I gave him some chocolate. We struck up a conversation, and before you knew it, we were making out, okay? It was so hot. It was like the type of kiss where you could feel it throughout your body. I felt it in my thighs. That was the first place I felt it. I was like, whoa! I gotta do this. I learned his name was Ryan, and he worked at Barnes & Noble in Emeryville. So already I was like so in love. So Ryan from Barnes & Noble asked me if I wanted to go on a date the next Friday. And I was like, yeah, let's fucking go on a date. So I spent the week like getting myself together, doing all the things, talking to friends about outfits and things like that, and I got ready for my date. And the date would take place on a Friday. Now, I lived in the Western Addition at the time. A lot of people know me as a Bayview girl, but at this time I was in the Western Addition. And I went with a friend to a bus stop at the intersection of McAllister and Fillmore. It was the 22 bus stop. So we went and we stayed, and what was going to happen was we were going to take the bus there, and she would go her way, I would go my way. If the date ended up whack, we would find out a way to, meet back up. So we waited at the bus stop, and, we both were dressed to the nine. We looked amazing, and I was so excited. And at this time, we were dealing with, I'm not trying to age myself, but we didn't have iPhones to the degree that we have them now. I think we were dealing with iPods. I had like one of those Motorola flip phones. Like when it rings, it goes, hello, Moto. I had like one of those phones. So I had that phone, and I was like texting Ryan, and I was so excited, and text didn't even look cool. I mean, it was just like a thing. It was a vibe. We were ready. The bus was not coming, but we were standing there, we were waiting, and then all of a sudden, a car rolled up. And two men approached, and they were in a burgundy car. It was a sedan. And one of the men looks over and he says, "Where's the party at?" And I was like, "There's no party. Could you please go away?" Because I felt really uncomfortable. And he drove off. And then my friend and I kind of looked at each other. And for a second, I thought maybe I should, I don't feel good about this. Maybe we should walk back to the house and call a cab. Maybe we should cross the street. Like, I got that feeling, okay? That intuition. And I looked down on my phone, and as I was looking down, I heard a gasp from my friend. And I felt a presence over me, and it gave me this doom, like in my gut. I looked up, and it was that guy. And he said, "What'd you say to me?" And I said, "I don't want any problems. Please just go." And before I could say a way, he struck me. He punched me so hard in my eye, I could not, I immediately, I felt it swell. Like, you could go and you could take a blow to the face, and then you'll go to the mirror and you wonder, "Oh shit, what did I do? What do I look like?" I knew exactly what I was looking like based off this guy's punch. My eye swole shut. And I fell to the ground. And I got back up. Because I don't stay down for nobody. Let me say that again. I don't stay down for no motherfucking body. And I tried to fight him, but it just got worse and worse. And if you're wondering what my friend was doing, we still go through over this to this day. I can't fault her for not jumping on his back, for not doing this. I mean, we're in the hood. I don't know what I would have done if I were in the same situation. You talk about fight and flight. You talk about someone following you, someone doing, you don't know what you're going to do. You talk about these things, but when you're actually in the situation, you don't know what the fuck you're going to do until you're there. So I can't fault her. But this man beat the living daylights out of me. He beat me up. I grabbed him, and I looked him in the eye, and I said, "Look what you did to me. Look what you did to me." And for a moment, I saw remorse in his eyes. I saw his eyes soften. And then I saw them turn into an evil bastard again. He pushed me down. He kicked me in my rib. And then he said, "I'll be right back." He ran off. I saw my phone. I looked and I saw my phone. I grabbed my phone. I tried to take a picture of the car, but they drove off. When I turned around and my head was laying on the floor, I looked where I was. There was a church across the street from me. There was a police station across from the church. And it was just this really weird moment. A church, a police station, two places where you're supposed to feel safe. Two places where anybody would just look and say, "Oh, I shouldn't start any shit on this corner." One, because I might get arrested. Two, because I believe in the Lord. Maybe I'm a religious person. I don't know. And I thought, I don't feel safe at all. Regardless of what I'm looking at, I feel so unsafe. I might die. I don't know what the fuck is going to happen to me. I grabbed my phone. I looked up, and I saw headlights coming towards my face. And they stopped. And they went around. They didn't even fucking stop to help me. They went around. Then all of a sudden, I heard footsteps coming back. And in the distance, I heard a woman say, "Run! Run!" I didn't even turn around to see what was happening. I went and I fucking got up and I ran. I ran for my life. We went back to my friend's house. We called the police. We actually ended up after that, because where the fuck is the police? They're not coming. And you know what's really fucked up about the police too? I was talking to someone the other day who I was interviewing for a story. And she was telling me about how she's a black woman. When you call the police, when you're going through distress and you call the police and they come and they show up on site, they'll listen to the story, but then they'll end up getting irritated with you and they'll have an attitude. The way they respond is so insensitive. And this is very common within the black community and other communities where there's women of color who go through this type of thing. I'll get back to that in a second. But when I went to the hospital, I looked so bad to where the nurses were crying when they saw me. The bridge of my nose was broken. My eye was busted. My nose was bleeding. My lip was busted. My rib was cracked. All of this because I didn't want to fucking talk to a guy at a bus stop. All of this because I asked him to go away. So after that came the part where it was time to heal. Every morning I looked at myself from then on, and all I would do is look in the mirror and wonder when I would look the same again. It was really difficult for me. I would even have dreams about looking beautiful again because I just never thought it would happen. I also became very angry. I just lost the light in my eyes because I was so traumatized. I didn't know how to deal with it. I remember reading this quote, and I may screw it up, but Malcolm X said, "The most disrespected, neglected woman in America is a black woman." We walk through this world, and I'm in a black community doing this. I'm in the Fillmore district. We walk through this community with our heads up, held high. We shine, we're beautiful. We entertain, we make people laugh. We show up, we're strong for everybody. We nurture everybody else. But who the fuck is nurturing us? Nobody. We gotta do it ourselves. I always wonder what could have been done different. I went through the motions, okay? I went to therapy, I did all the things. I had to go to work with my looking all fucked up, covered in makeup. It's interesting what happens too when you go to work. At the time, I worked in the Marina District. So I had all these really rich white people judging me, saying, "Oh, what happened to you? Oh, what's wrong with your eye? Oh," and then my bosses weren't very nice either. It was like, when you're a person of color, they expect you to be in that type of situation. They don't see it as something unfortunate that happens to you. It's more like, oh, she's just being a black person in a black community. But let another bitch have a stomach ache and they'll, "Are you okay? Oh, please, take as much time off as you need." Am I lying? Shit. So I had to do this for myself. I had to heal myself. I had to bring myself back up. I had to go into my community, my Fillmore community who raised me up, my Bayview community who told me that what happened to you is not okay. That's why, I became a journalist. I became an advocate for, open spaces because I think that these things are important, but being black in these spaces is a whole different story. You can close whatever street you want in this town, but it's different when you're black walking through that street, or you're brown, or you're Asian. So I avoided McAllister and Fillmore for a really long time because I had to learn how to bring myself out of this. I had to learn how to bring myself back, and I did. I did it through, like I said, arts and community. It was really difficult, but I did it. Thank you. And I also forgive because while what happened to me was horrible, what I found out about that man who did that is that he was shot. And he died. So this man was going through his own trauma that he didn't know how to deal with. And it was the type of trauma that made him disrespectful towards his own women, towards women in his culture, within his community. That's something that I'm lucky I don't have to unpack, because I took healthier coping mechanisms. So now I go back to that bus stop over on McAllister and Fillmore, and I feel proud to stand there, because to me, it just shows how strong I am, how I'm able to overcome something like this and still show up and still make people laugh and still look people in the eye, right? 1, 2, 3, woosah. Say it with me. 1, 2, 3, woosah. Yeah, I think that's it. And by the way, a big shout out to our new Supreme Court Justice. With stuff like this happening, it gives me hope that when things like this type of stuff happens again, people will just look at it differently, right? I think that there's a racial reckoning and people are starting to act right. At least I'm hopeful. We'll see. All right, y'all.